Peace to you. I hope this finds you well. Perhaps one day I'll learn. There was a banner and it was Christian Live, I guess, and it said Islam is false, or is Islam true? I think it asked the question, and I wanted to offer my insights. Within the course of the conversation, we were talking, and one of the things that came up was this idea of Jesus being the Messiah, and that the Old Testament was looking forward to the Messiah coming. And the host and I initially were having a pretty good discussion, and he laid out, I think, pretty concisely what the folks, the Israelites, were hoping to see in the Messiah. And I was trying to point out to them, but at no point did those people think that there was going to be God in the flesh. I'm almost certain they would have never thought that. And the host and I were in making headway, I guess. And then this other guy, who hopefully I can tag also, comes into it and questions me about the Bible, but most specifically, he kept bringing me back to Paul. Now look, there are a lot of Muslims who are going to see this, I'm sure. And I don't even know that these guys who panel I was just on will see it. But what Paul did, I'll back up. Jesus, the living, breathing Word of God, sent to the Israelites. Jesus, the living, breathing Word of God. Jesus is the Word of God. The Quran, revealed to Muhammad, is the Word of God, is actually the Word of God. And this time God sent it down in a recitation form that we as humans could easily remember, and it has survived, and it is the Word of God. Jesus is the Word of God. The Quran is the Word of God. I have followed both. I'm familiar with both, and I find no contradiction in it. Here's the contradiction. Here's where it comes from. The Bible was constructed to make Jesus into a God. That's why it was constructed. And the one who is most responsible for that is Paul. So this fellow who wanted to, I have no, spit Paul out of my mouth. I don't have any need for Paul. What Paul did to the Word of God, Jesus, the Word of God, what Paul did to the Word of God, in my opinion, is what the Hadiths did to the Word of God in the Quran. You have torn it apart. Show me a person who has read the Quran, who is being led by Allah and knows that it is in fact the Word of God. And show me that same person who has read the teachings of Jesus and who can see and believe that the teachings, that what came out of his mouth during his ministry are the Word of God. You're both, Muslims and Christians, have taken the Word of God and have torn it. And you don't see it. I'm on a panel discussion, trying to be roped back into that I have to have Paul and I have to have the Bible to have the Word of God, which is Jesus' teachings. Technically, that's true. But then I go to a Muslim live and they tell me, no, you have to have these hadiths, depending on who's hosting the live, or it's these hadiths. You have to follow these scholars or these scholars. And these fellows say, why are you getting so aggravated? Why are you getting so upset? I'm getting so upset because you have all had like a veil put over your faces. The truth is right there in the teachings of Jesus and in the Quran. That is the Word of God. Why can't you focus on the Word of God? Peace.